Okay, how many bees does it take to lift the Golden Gate Bridge? I've done a bit of research and I found from Wikipedia that one bee can lift 100 milligrams. And the Golden Gate Bridge weighs 805,000 tons. Let's see how we could do that in Python. I want to keep everything consistent, so I will use kilograms as my units, and I'll work out the lifting power of one bee. Bee lift is equal to 100 milligrams, and to convert by kilograms, I can divide by 1,000,000. And I'm going to write that as 1,000 milligrams per gram times 1,000 grams in every kilogram. This is an expression. It relates together values like 100 and 1,000, and it uses operators to represent operations on those values. In this case, we'll multiply 1,000 by 1,000, and the brackets, the parentheses, tell us this will be executed before any other operations, and we then divide 100 by that value. The equals sign tells us that this value, the result of this computation, will be assigned to this variable, the identifier belift. If I run this code, which I can do by pressing Shift and Enter, then it will do the computation and it will store the result in belift. I can print that out. Print belift. Okay, what about the Golden Gate Bridge? Well, the weight of the Golden Gate Bridge is 805,000 tons, and I will write that as 805,000, and I will multiply that by 1,000 kilograms in every metric ton. The number of bees that I'll need is just equal to the Golden Gate weight. One thing to notice, if I press Tab in the notebook environment, it will autocomplete the rest of that variable name for me. And I want to divide that by the bee lifting power. I can print out the number of bees I'm going to need, and I need 8.05 trillion bees. That's quite a lot of bees. Imagine that at the moment I have 4 bees. Current bees is 4. And I learned from Wikipedia that every beehive can double the number of bees that it has every 3 years. Well, how long will it take me to get to the number of bees needed to lift the Golden Gate Bridge? I can compute that by taking the ratio of the number of bees I need, num-bees, and the bees I have just now. And then I want to take the logarithm of that to base 2. Can try doing that. I could write log of num-bees over current bees over the logarithm of 2. When I try that, it won't work. It'll tell me that there's a name error and the name log is not defined because log is not built into Python. Instead, I can import it from a module. To specify that I want to use a module, I use import and the name of the module, in this case math, which is built in module providing mathematical functions. I can then write math.log 2. Press Shift Enter now, and you'll notice that the value is printed out here. I didn't assign it to a variable, and in the notebook the default thing that happens if you do a computation, write an expression, the result of that expression will be printed out below. And this tells me I'll need just about 41 doubling periods to do that operation. There's one useful trick. If you have something like a function like log and you don't remember what it does or how to use it, if you click just inside the parentheses and press Shift and Tab, a little help will pop up down there and it'll give you a description of that function. In this case, I noticed something interesting. Actually, log can take a base as a second argument there. So I could instead have written this as comma 2 and remove this here. Gives me the same result, 41 doubling periods. Okay, well, how long will I have to wait to breed my 4 bees up to an army sufficient to take away the Golden Gate Bridge? Well, I'm going to do the doubling periods. So I'm going to store in a variable. And the doubling time is 3 years. So the time to breed is just the doubling periods times the doubling time. If I print that out, I'll see I need 122 years in order to complete my operation. One thing you might have noticed if you come from another programming language is that I didn't specify any of the types of these variables. I just said current bees equals 4. I didn't write int current bees or anything else to specify the type. And in Python, values have types like 4 or 1000 or 0.001, but variables do not have types. And any type can be stored in a variable. I can change that at will. For example, I can have current bees equals hello. It's completely valid. It will assign the value, the string hello, into current bees. That does mean that Python can't always check things in advance. So if I try to do current bees times time to breed, that is an expression. On one side there is a string, there's the star operator, which is presumably multiplication, and we have here a number, a floating point number. And it will tell me that there's a type error. There's no way to multiply a sequence of non-int of type float. Actually, in Python, there is a way to do multiplication of strings. If I wrote hello, and I multiplied it by an integer, not a floating point number, hello times 4 gives me hello, 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 hello. The thing to notice here is that the symbol star can have different meanings. The star, the operator symbol, depends on the types of the values on each side of it. If they are, for example, two integers, 4 times 4, then we do integer multiply, we get 16. In the case of a string on an integer, the star operator of behavior is determined by the value on the left-hand side, and then we determine if there is an operation which can be done with the right-hand side. In this case, there's a repetition operator. In the case of a floating point number, well, there wasn't an operation defined, and so we got an error.